Hello again. The various race relations acts make it an offence to refuse to serve a black person in a shop or rent him a flat in this country, based solely upon skin colour. They do not, however, oblige people to do business with black people. We are in this country free to choose with whom we wish to do business. I can go into whichever shop I choose and select a tradesman according to my wishes, or indeed even my prejudices. I would personally not have dealings with a black professional because this is apt to lead to awkwardness and misunderstandings. Let me explain. I do not think that black people are likely to be more dishonest or less efficient than white people in similar business, but their ways of conducting business are likely to be different. This will lead to misunderstanding and perhaps unpleasantness. Let me give you a real life example to show what I mean. In the description to this video, I give a link to a piece from the Architect's Journal, which tells of the suspension from the profession of an architect called Lechia Libari Orleans. He's a black guy of African heritage. Essentially, he was hired by somebody to help rejig their house. He claimed that he had sent the plans to the local authority and asked for his fee of £1,400. It later turned out that he hadn't actually sent the plans at all, and when the people he was working with were annoyed and started to ask too many questions, he said that he wanted not only his fee, but also £54,412 in interest. I think it fair to say that this was a pretty outrageous thing to demand. And the people then complained about him to the regulatory body of architects. It turns out that they had already reprimanded him earlier this year for some offence to do with a house in Nigeria, of course. I think it's fair to say that the nature of this problem is such that it would be unlikely to arise with a white English architect. You see, when I deal with such a person, we both have a common background and know how things work. If the architect promised to do something on Monday and then said on Tuesday that he hadn't been able to do it because of staff shortages or something had come up, that would be an acceptable gambit. If he, on the other hand, he said that he had done it and then later said he hadn't, that would not be acceptable. The white architect might well try to rip me off, but that too will be within certain parameters. He might, for example, pad out the bill with various charges, which if I look at them, might increase the bill by, I don't know, 10, 15, perhaps 20%. If I owed him £1,400 in fees, he might try and inflate this a little bit. It's conceivable he might even try and double it, claiming that he hadn't included VAT in his original estimate or something of that sort. We are all of us familiar with this kind of thing. What he would not do would be to inflate that 1,400 bill to over £55,000. That would be grotesque. There are, however, cultures in which that sort of thing is something which does happen. I'm not sure. Say, for example, I went to Syria and engaged an architect. He might increase his bills by telling me that a certain amount was needed up front in backsheesh bribery so that local authorities would okay the project. That would be within the accepted terms of that society, but it wouldn't be something we would expect here. And I would probably not really be comfortable handling that sort of negotiation. Here's another thing. The architect who has been suspended for this business said that he didn't really understand percentages and used an online calculator and thought that this was an acceptable way of proceeding in this business. an architect who doesn't understand percentages. This kind of situation would be exceedingly unlikely to arise if a white English client were working with a white English architect. Such cultural differences would be likely to complicate any job which I engaged a man for, and it's bad enough anyway dealing with people like lawyers and architects. The additional stress of trying to disentangle misunderstandings of this nature would add to the tension, and I could do without it. For this reason, I prefer to deal with white British professionals rather than those of other cultures or origins.